So the future of Call of Duty, we've known for pretty much years what the next like 3 years of Call of Duty are going to be. We got Black Ops 7 this year. Then we have Modern Warfare 4 next year. And then probably something from Sledgehammer like an Advanced Warfare 2. That brings us to 2027. But Icebergs, our friend, go check out his channel. He does a lot of really good story stuff. He did a video on what happens in 2028. He says, Call of Duty's 2028 reboot changes everything. I haven't watched it yet. So, yes, and Icebergs is in chat here. Let's see what he has to say. Because I don't, beyond 2027, I don't know much.
Franchise for
Start over.
What I'm about to reveal will change the entire Call of Duty franchise forever. Call of Duty will reboot their entire franchise in 2028.
This is one hell of a call. This is almost the beginning of a TikTok right there. If I was to start a TikTok, this is how I would start it.
And I didn't believe myself, but there is too much evidence and too many coincidences for a 2028 reboot of Call of Duty.
By the way, I believe that what he is talking about here is specifically like 2019, Modern Warfare 2019, how we had the reboot that year, something along those lines.
Not to be true. First, I have to explain how I discovered this. If you have watched any of my videos before, you will know I am a Call of Duty nerd. So I was trying to list out and detail the next few years of Call of Duty games. And as I did, I realized that Call of Duty is ending the entire franchise in 2027. But when I dove even deeper in, I discovered there is a plan in motion to change Call of Duty forever. The next few years of Call of Duty games are already in development, but there is something odd about the next few years of games. Typically, we know what Call of Duty games are on the way 3 to 4 years in advance. And usually, these games tie into previous Call of Duty games, building on the established plot and characters. Still, it seems that Call of Duty is ending their storylines and series they have had running for years, like Black Ops and Modern Warfare. But let's dive into it for a second. This year's title, Black Ops 6, had a campaign with an ending that set up Black Ops 6 to have a sequel, seemingly.
Yep.
Harrow may be gone, but not
Which, by the way, I'm pretty sure, like, the weird part is Black Ops 7 is a sequel to 2 games. It's a sequel to Black Ops 6 and Black Ops 2. Really, really weird.
I need you back in Avalon.
However, as we learn from the Black Ops 6 seasonal story, Call of Duty is wrapping up the storyline of Black Ops 6 at the end of its year of support.
Hudson came through from the afterlife.
Yeah.
We got a list of every agent Pantheon's ever planted inside the CIA. We can finally cut out the cancer, clear our names.
Now let's look at this upcoming year's release. Black Ops 7 is going to be an interesting narrative story, but it exists in a bubble because within the Black Ops timeline, it can affect the story that comes after, which is Black Ops 4, and it builds on the story from its predecessor, Black Ops 2. But the game is being told within a narrative bubble, which brings up a bigger point we'll talk about in a minute. In 2026, we'll be getting Modern Warfare
so here's the
4,
thing, though.
here's
the thing. Okay, I'll disagree with that just a little bit, because it can affect the future of the story, but only to a certain extent, right? The narrative bubble that he's talking about is the time period. So it's in a gap that's between Black Ops 2 and between Black Ops 4. We've had this multiple times before. We had this with Black Ops Cold War. We had this with Black Ops 6. Like, they happen in between a time period. The difference with Black Ops 7 is that bubble is smaller. It's only 10 years. Whereas when we got Black Ops Cold War, it was between 79, and then we had 84 or 81. And then we had a big gap between Black Ops 2. And then even when they put in Black Ops 6, it was 91, big gap, Black Ops 2. So there's still like a bubble in there that they have like a time period, like early 2000s, which would actually be when David Mason first joined the military, where they have like a gap that they could fill in for the Black Ops universe, which I think would be pretty cool because you could do a game that was David Mason and Captain Price at the beginning of their careers. Be pretty cool. Like, you know how they normally like switch between 2 factions? Like, you could go with the SEALs and the SAS. Like, it'd be pretty cool. That's all I'm saying.
By multiple sources to be the last game in the new rebooted Modern Warfare story.
I also believe that.
Meaning the Modern Warfare series is ending. Then we look at Call of Duty 2027, which is interesting because we don't have a name for the game yet. But we do know it's codenamed Zulu, and Call of Duty 2027 has been confirmed to be a separate individual story from the Modern Warfare
If they stick to this, we'll come back to that in a minute.
and Black Ops series. Likely a continuation of Advanced Warfare, being Advanced Warfare 2, but we don't know yet. And now that bigger point I mentioned earlier, Call of Duty has created the one universal timeline that encompasses
Okay, let's stop there for a second. So Project Zulu, right? It's said to be its own game because Sledgehammer is finally going to get their own game to make. Now, with rumors that we've heard, apparently Sledgehammer is working on the multiplayer for this game, Call of Duty 2025. And then 2026, they would have a full year of development on their own game going into 2027. It lines up, but we've seen Call of Duty do this before where they're like, oh, well, Modern Warfare 4 did really good. Modern Warfare 4 year 2, we're making a Modern Warfare 5. Like a last minute FU, right? It's just like, we've changed our mind. We're not going to do what we were planning on doing. So just keep in mind with this theory, things can change a lot quicker than we think they can with Call of Duty.
the entire Black Ops series, the new rebooted Modern Warfare games, as well as some other games like Call of Duty Vanguard, World at War, and Infinite Warfare. But within this new combined timeline, every decade of warfare from 1940 to 2065 has been covered.
Except for one icebergs. This is the one that I was talking about, early 2000s, has not been covered.
Call of Duty has quite literally packed every moment of warfare into 120 years that they could, but there is no space for new games to fit into this timeline without overwriting or counteracting other games within this timeline.
This is actually a really good point,
and it's
though.
funny because I remember back to Black Ops 3. We were literally...
So if they were to finish the timeline, I would say to do it with that early 2000s game where they do, they have Price and David Mason in it, and it finishes that final gap, and then boom, that timeline's done. But he's right.
Memes about Black Ops 7 in 2015. There is a serious player fatigue with the same series in Call of Duty releasing another game in the series over and over and over again. Fans have been well spoken in saying they want a new Call of Duty that isn't Black Ops or Modern Warfare. So narratively and socially, Call of Duty just needs a refresh. But we don't know what Call of Duty 2028 is, and we're 2.5 years away. We should know at least something.
Icebergs, when I do the Call of Duty Aftermath video that I was talking about, I might include your timeline in there because it's a good point, or include the clip from that. Because having something covered from every year, they need like a branching off, like they need like an alternate universe almost.
Think about it by now, but that's because of Microsoft and 2028 being such an important year for Call of Duty. So let's go back in time just a little bit. Right around the time Modern Warfare 3 was releasing in 2023, Activision Blizzard, the company who makes Call of Duty, was bought out by Microsoft. This was, and still kind of is, huge news for the Call of Duty franchise because no one is really sure what this means for Call of Duty, but we do know that Microsoft is trying to make Xbox and Xbox games bigger and reach a larger audience. But Call of Duty has a unique problem that Microsoft has to work around. Call of Duty games, unlike any other series in the world, are developed 3 to 4 years in advance because of the yearly cycle.
We think that, but based off of what we've heard lately, like for example, was it Modern Warfare 3 was made in 18 months or something like that? They're able to switch things up way quicker.
And we know that Microsoft doesn't want to tamper
Call of Duty
with Call of
Desert
Duty's
Storm would go
formula
hard
too much right now because it works. It brings in money every single year. But when Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard in 2023, the next 4 years of games were already in development. Black Ops 6 was prepping for release in 2024. Black Ops 7 was planned for 2025. Modern Warfare 4 was planned for 2026. And we knew well back in 2023 that Sledgehammer Games was working on a game for 2027. So Microsoft really didn't want to tamper with the development and planning of any of these games. But 2028 will be the first Call of Duty developed under the management of Microsoft, which may be a reason why we haven't heard anything about it yet, because everyone.
You could argue that 2027 is as well. I'm also worried that 2027 will not be a Sledgehammer game. Like that's a theory for a different day, but with all of the firings that's like Sledgehammer has got hit by every single Xbox firing since Xbox has purchased them. Like think about that for a second.
Everyone's looking to Call of Duty for information, and we should be looking to Microsoft. And Microsoft is really, really good at keeping secrets. But Microsoft has shown in the past that they like rebooting and resetting popular franchises when they buy their respective studios.
Yeah.
Look at Halo's 20th anniversary, which saw Microsoft really going all out to push remastered Halo 2. Gears of War is releasing Gears of War Emergency on the 25th anniversary of the first Gears of War game. Fable's 20th anniversary saw Microsoft revealing a reboot of the series is on the way. This matters a lot because, well, 2028 is also Call of Duty's 25th anniversary, and Microsoft is seeking to expand their gaming empire in the next couple of years by releasing handheld consoles, a new Xbox, and pushing their more popular games towards bigger success, like Call of Duty. When you put it all together, though, it paints an interesting picture.
25, yeah. Math checks out.
Call of Duty is ending the storylines of many of their long-running series like Black Ops and Modern Warfare. And on top of that, creating new stories within the combined universe is next to impossible, as they have thoroughly covered every decade of warfare between the 1940s and the 2060s. On top of that, all of their stories are ending. Call of Duty 2027 is interestingly codenamed Zulu, which will be the 26th main title Call of Duty game to release since 2003.
And the last letter of the alphabet. Just saying.
And Zulu is the 26th and last
I
letter
knew he was going
of
there.
the NATO phonetic alphabet.
Coincidence? I think not.
And with all of this together, we will be celebrating Call of Duty's 25th anniversary, the same year the first Call of Duty game managed by Microsoft releases. And we know from numerous examples
He's
that
convincing me.
Microsoft makes a huge deal about anniversaries of popular video games they own by rebooting or resetting those same video game franchises on important anniversary milestones for the game. And when you put it all together, this all lines up so well that it just makes sense that Call of Duty would reboot the series. Call of Duty is ending their storylines before 2028. They're prepping for Microsoft to take control of the Call of Duty franchise in 2028. Their 25th anniversary is in 2028. Between Call of Duty ending all of their storylines, Call of Duty 2027 being codenamed Zulu, Microsoft taking over control of Call of Duty in 2028, the 25th anniversary of Call of Duty in 2028, and the need for a refresh by fans, it all lines up too well, and it just makes sense that Call of Duty would reboot the entire series. And mark my words, Call of Duty is going to reboot the entire franchise in 2028.
That was good. That was well done, Icebergs. You convinced me. I don't even know where you got that idea from, but it's a good one. Will it happen? So this is the question. So if it was just Activision Blizzard, not a chance. And the reason is because they're too scared. Now, Microsoft has more money. They also cannot screw up Call of Duty because Call of Duty is their biggest money earner, right? Now, 25th anniversary, do they re-release a game just called Call of Duty? Do they do it as a World War II game? I think it's needed. I do think it's needed. But I think what would be cool is if they did, hear me out, what happened in the year 2003, that is when Call of Duty came out, right? What was going on in 2003? Well, first of all, it's the one era where we have not had a Call of Duty game in this timeline. We kind of did with the original Modern Warfare franchise. It was more like early 2010s, but 2003, well, that's right after 2001. What happened after 2001? Anybody? Chat? Anybody? Anybody know what I'm getting at here? It was a pretty big year. Well, pretty big time. Battle of Fallujah area. There was a lot going on. That's when the Middle East stuff started. It's a perfect area. So if you just reboot Call of Duty and it takes place in 2003 when the first Call of Duty was released, that lines up. You could do a present day. You could do just Call of Duty and it's about Modern Warfare, but it's not called Modern Warfare. There's a lot where you could do. I don't know. It's a cool idea. It's an idea that I want. Now, do I think it'll happen? It's a pipe dream. It's a pipe dream. but maybe.